Welcome back to Hot Takes and Deep Dives. This is Jess. And in the words of David Letterman, my next guest needs no introduction. 7 years on SNL, movies, endless appearances on all your favorite talk shows. Guys, I'm here with Rachel Dratch.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here with you. I've been a fan forever, literally since your first season on SNL.
Thank you.
No, seriously, I really have followed your entire career, and I'll bore you with my stories a little later. Here's what we're gonna talk about. So you have led a very interesting life. We're going to get into all the SNL stuff. I want to hear going deep about your audition. I want to hear about, we are going to touch on the 30 Rock stuff.
Okay.
I know it. Listen,
they always do.
Listen, no, but we're going to do it right.
Okay.
Listen, don't worry. We are going to talk about 30 Rock. Obviously, all the characters. I have a lot of questions about Wine Country.
Okay.
Actually, so I want to get into that. But first, you are a world-renowned Bravo fan. Dare I say Bravoholic?
I am, yes.
Tell me everything. How did you get into the Housewives?
Oh man, I don't even remember how long it's been, but for some reason I just started watching at the beginning, and then Andy started having me on Watch Happens Live, and then it kind of like the Housewives. Then I got to meet a few of them, and I don't know. I've met a lot of them. I've collected a lot of them on my Housewives baseball cards, I guess. Yeah.
Well, okay, so two of them, you need to tell me the others, but the two that I was going to bring up, number one, I saw you.
Oh my God. Okay, this is so funny. Because
you know what I'm going to say?
Yes, you're going to talk about the Countess.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like, I'm ready to like unleash about this. No, no, not about the Countess. She was very nice. She's really nice. It was funny. I was picking up my kid from school, and someone yelled out of a window, like, Rachel! And I turned, and it was the Countess Luann.
Where?
You know, like on the Upper West Side. I don't know. She was being driven somewhere, and I was like, oh, hi. And it was just so funny that, like, the Countess was yelling out of her car to me. No, that is, okay, this is so funny, because I heard you talking about this show on the Judy Gold thing. For some reason, you mentioned the Countess's show. Oh, because you were asking her, like, how is it cool that someone's, you know, touring with us? And then I was like, oh my God, she's gonna ask me about this. This was we're starting off with a real expose.
Well, just to like paint the picture. So you were in the very first Countess and Friends that was filmed for. So I was there.
Oh my God, this is.
But you were cut out.
I'm so glad. Was I? I never watched. Okay, I'm so happy. It was one of my most mortifying moments on stage in recent memory. So let's just go there, shall we? No, no. First of all, the Countess was super nice. She was awesome. And I even had friends come, much to my extreme mortification. So like we all enjoyed the show and everything. But I'm so glad it was cut up, because okay, I don't sing, right? And I told the director, I was like,
do you know Ben Rimmelauer?
I sort of knew who he was, I think. Yeah. And he's like friends of mine. So anyway, at the beginning I was gonna read from her book, from the Countess book, you know? Well, no, the etiquette, whatever. The etiquette book, you know?
Class with the Countess?
Yeah, I was gonna do readings from that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So and that's what I agreed to do. And then like a couple days before the thing, he's like, well, you know, everybody's singing, so would you be up for singing something? And I was like, I mean, I don't, like, I sing like how you sing in karaoke. Like, I don't sing like, and then he's like, oh, it'll be fun, it'll be great, blah, blah, blah. And then he's, what do you want to sing? And I was like, well, I just sang Suddenly Seymour the other night in karaoke. And I was like, I could do that. Like, but I was imagining like it's at the end, it's like the crowd's all going to join in, and it was going to be like Suddenly Seymour, like that's like everyone's drunk and it's the end, right? Well, then he tells me like that I was first in the lineup, like right after the Countess's intro. And I was like, this is the reason why this has stuck me so much. It's because it's like this metaphor or whatever for like, you know, when like now that I'm older and wiser, like I like to think that I like not so polite about things that I know in my gut are just like wrong, you know. But so like I think the reason why it's like still in my craw is because like I didn't follow my, like I didn't like steamroll on through, like because I was like a good girl about it. So I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. Like first up, like I don't really sing. And
Rachel, there's power in saying no.
Exactly, and like I like to think usually I know that by now. So this one like slipped through the cracks, and then he was like, "Oh no, it's fine," and I was like, "I don't know, like this first of all seems like a closing song," and so anyway. Sure enough, Rachel was like the nice girl who said, okay. And I was just feeling, and then like it sucked so bad. Like it was so bad. I was so embarrassed. And then like, you know.
then meanwhile, the whole cast is.
They're like Laura Benanti and.
No. I mean the actual housewife. Like Bethany Frankel and Carol Radwell and Sonia Morgan are staring at you.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't care if they don't think I can sing. I mean, that part didn't bother me. It was just like, you know, I was like, oh, I knew this wasn't going to work. So anyway, that's my story on the Countess show. So I'm so glad that they cut it out. But she was nice. And I think it's kind of a fun show that she does. Yeah. That's my story. I'm starting off with my lessons learned in showbiz. Yeah.
Now, the other housewife that I was going to bring up that I know you've had significant experience with, you were on Watch What Happens Live with Erica Jane.
Yes, Erica Jane.
And you dressed up as...
Was I Rachel? I was Rachel Jane, yeah. Yeah, so I dressed up with a long blonde wig. And
was that your idea?
I feel like it might have been. It might have been my idea, yeah. And then I made a video, I think, or something like that.
You had like thigh-high boots.
Yeah, and I was like writhing on a tabletop.
It's on YouTube. Like I watched it the other night, obviously. She like loved it.
Oh yeah, she was. They're all really nice. I don't know when I was in the chair next to them, but yeah.
Who else have you been on?
Vicky.
How was that?
She was nice. I mean, like, because I see her on the show and she's kind of like the squeaky wheel, you know. But she was cool. And then they're all like 10 feet tall. So one time I was the elf on the shelf when they did the Christmas special, and they put me up on the bar. That was fun. I was dressed like the elf on the shelf. Yeah, they're all like, you know, whatever, gargantuan. I mean, Lee tall, you know. And
I mean, I think it's because they're wearing like
they were
7-inch.
Yeah, that's true. And I met another one that I didn't really. Shoot, I don't even know who she was.
Oh my god!
Because it was like in the later years,
like from Dallas or something.
I've fallen off a little, just to be like, I'm gonna get honest here, guys. I've fallen off, but not because of it's just because I don't know. I don't watch as much anymore of anything really.
Historically, like, who have been your favorite wives, and also your favorite franchise? Like, I mean, I'm guessing New York is your favorite.
I think New York is my favorite, and then I also liked Beverly Hills and the OC. Those were like the first ones, right? Don't tell Andy, but I don't really know them as well anymore when I go on. So,
have you ever met Bethany?
Oh yeah, I've met Bethany a few times. Yeah.
And how has that been?
Good. I mean, she's very like she is how she is on camera. You know what I mean? She's definitely funny, and you know, her own sassy self. You know, I think she used to do comedy back at, like, she did the Groundlings or something like that. I think
she did.
You know, just like she took the classes, I think. So she definitely has, like, you know, a comedy brain, I'd say.
I love it. No, this was very. I'm glad we started off with this.
Okay,
we were starting off on the right foot. So before we jump into your story, I want to quickly jump into SNL. You talk about in your book, and I was telling you before, like, I consider you have a memoir that you wrote a couple of years ago called Girl Walks Into a Bar. And the thesis is basically you had all the success in comedy, and then work kind of dried up after 30 Rock. We're going to talk about it. And then you unexpectedly, at I think age 43, discovered that you were pregnant.
Yes.
When you had sort of accepted that you didn't want to have a baby on your own. And you had just sort of like accepted this, and then it's like, that's your second chapter.
Yeah.
And I always tell my friends, like, listen, in the galaxy of Bossy Pants and Amy Poehler's book, Yes Please, and all of the books, Jimmy Fallon's children's books, Girl Walks Into a Bar, I feel, is the most relatable. Like, it has this soul to it. Like, I just love it.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, before we jump into the book, I wanted to like just hit on SNL,
okay.
Something that's like super top of mind.
Okay.
So in the book, you have a quick aside about just like your time on SNL and how obviously sketches get cut, things, can get cut at the literally you can be sitting there with like a chicken head on in your chicken outfit thinking it's the last sketch, and then it gets cut for time, and yet you're standing there in the good nights with a chicken head on.
Right.
And one of the reasons that things can get cut, for like there can be a million different reasons, you talk about the fact that during an election year, everything is sort of skewed because now SNL has to commit to like a 10-minute debate sketch.
Oh, right. Yeah. I guess I forgot I said that. But yeah, that's true. Yeah. So in election year, like that's the main focus. So there's fewer slots for like, regular, you want the frivolous, silly stuff to just like get your mind off. But then also you're like things feel like they have to be extra topical. So like I think they do a good job of making a mix of them. But yeah, for sure, there's going to be like a giant or two, political sketches. Yeah.
When you were on the show, not the guest appearances you do now, when you were a cast member, because I don't believe you ever did an impression of somebody running for office or anything.
Not that I remember, no.
How did that feel at that time? Were you there for one or two election cycles?
Well, I was there for Bush and Gore. I don't even know if there were as many like women involved, even in this short amount of time. There's more women to play now, which is good for our country. So yeah, I don't think I really did any political people.
So since you weren't involved in the debate sketches and in the election, these are the days when it was those hilarious sketches where it was Will Ferrell as Bush and
Daryl Hammond
as Gore, and like just the perfect characterization of. I remember this sketch like Bush was like playing video games and didn't want to leave his room. It was very, very funny in the day. It wasn't as like sort of scary as it is now. But still, I remember even back then in the year 2000, that was honestly my peak, because that was when I was in college. That was my peak SNL viewing years. Back then, fans, because I was like deep in the SNL cult fan community. I've since graduated to Housewives. Okay. There were so many complaints among the fans. It was so annoying that these sketches would go on for 12 minutes. Okay. So I'm curious from a cast member perspective, how did it feel? Like, was it annoying, or were you just like, eh?
No, now that you said 2000, it all makes sense of why I don't remember this. Because I had just got on the show in the fall of 99. So therefore, I was like brand new pretty much. So I'm sure I wasn't walking around like, wait a minute, I'm not getting time, because like I was just like, oh my god, where do I go, what do I do? So I definitely wasn't thinking like this is cutting into the other stuff or whatever. Like it was just like, oh my god, I'm on SNL. So yeah, that wasn't really in my head, I guess.
In later years, so cut to 2016, when now Alec Baldwin now they're doing stunt, because they didn't do stunt casting in your day.
Yeah.
Now they're doing the stunt casting with, of course, Alec Baldwin as Trump, and now you've got Jim Carrey as Joe Biden, which I find confusing because Jason Sudeikis always played Biden. So I guess I'm confused. Do you know why he's not playing him?
I mean, I know they use Jason and they use Woody Harrelson too to play Biden, and I think it was because like I'm definitely not on the inside scoop of this, but I think it was because like someone was available this week and they weren't available that week, and then they just kept switching around. And no, I have no idea of what went into that casting decision of now, or like why. I think one thing is Woody Harrelson lives in Hawaii, so he couldn't be coming back. That's my big scoop for you. But I don't know why.
But the difference is that back then, the cast members made careers. Daryl Hammond made his entire career based off Clinton and Gore
and Trump. I mean, he does amazing Trump.
He originated Trump.
Yeah,
exactly. And now they look to the stunt casting.
Right.
So I'm curious, from your perspective, or maybe if you can like think about the cast now. They're taking time from these comedians who worked their whole fucking life to get on SNL, and now Jim Carrey or Alec Baldwin is taking their 10 minutes.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's the show. Like, there's so many, ups and downs of being on the show that, like, I mean, it's like the dream job, But like, the cast is always pretty big. Like I think right now there's 20 people. So how do I say this? a lot of times, like,
no one's listening. Don't worry.
I mean, you know, you're not really sure where you stand a lot there. Like, if you know, that's how I felt. And I know that's a lot of people's experiences. And then other people feel like they just know they're kind of like got it made there, sort of. So there's sort of different, you know, psychological things happening for the cast members. So I just think within that, you know, you're there week after week. Basically, you turn against yourself. You're not going to be like, why is Jim Carrey here taking that spot? I could do that. Like, you're probably just like, oh my God, I got to think of something. Blah, blah. You're not thinking of like the bigger structure and how it like it's keeping you down or whatever. You're just trying to think of like, I got to come up with a character. That's how I experienced it anyway. So I imagine that's how they are too. And I mean, then also, I guess if someone had like a great impression, it would have been run by them, or they would have been like, I don't know. It's like I literally don't know what happens, you know, behind the closed doors.
No, I mean that actually really does make sense.
Yeah.
Final last question about SNL. Don't worry, we're going
we're
going super deep. This is just the prologue.
This is the icing.
Yeah, this is the prologue. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, you were called. So ironically, you were called back last year to play Amy Klobuchar. Meanwhile, cut to you in a goddamn debate sketch as a stunt cast.
Right, I know. So yeah, I'm not gonna bite the hand that feeds me.
So tell me how
that was
happened.
so fun. I mean, like you always, occasionally you get the call to come back and do something, and it's so fun. And like, so yeah, I got a call to play her like on a Thursday night for that Saturday or something. And I guess it's just because I have a slight resemblance to her. You know, it's not like whatever. So when I got called, I was like looking at a video of her, and I was really hoping she had like a really strong Minnesota accent or like anything to grab onto. And like she's pretty, you know, normal in quotes. So yeah, that was kind of a challenge. But then luckily, like I had the, you know, just being part of the whole debate, and like they would write me funny stuff and stuff. So like, you know, that was all about the wig basically. But that was so fun. And then like they kept calling me, and it was just a super fun little highlight of last year to be part of all that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you got to work with the two current superstars on SNL, Kate McKinnon and Bowen Yang.
Oh my gosh, love them. I mean, there's so many talented people on there, but yes, I got to work with them. And you know, Larry David was back doing Sanders all the time. It was so funny. So yeah, it was just such a thrill. And then like I got to be at the show that Eddie Murphy came back for. That was super fun. And so it was just like going back to high school, but yeah.
So I know that you grew up outside of Boston, and I know that like initially you wanted to be a therapist, and then eventually you tried your hand at comedy. So you moved to Chicago. Just, you know, you have very similar trajectory to Tina Fey.
Yeah,
that's where you became super close with Tina.
Yeah,
you guys would do sketch shows together, and then I know that the SNL scouts, they go to UCB, Second City in Chicago, and the Groundlings. So it was at Second City where I guess both of you were discovered.
Yeah,
or maybe
exactly.
she was different because she was a writer.
Yeah, so she was taken first up to be a writer, and then we did this show together, Dratch and Fey. So yeah, and so I got to audition, and then I didn't get the job, and then that's when she went off to be a writer, and then we did our show, and then I got to audition again.
Take me into the audition.
Okay, I'm going to take you into the audition. So first of all, I assume it's still the same now, but they would basically tell you to just do 3 characters and 3 impressions.
So they fly you to New York.
So first they came to Second City when I was first on the main stage, and they flew out like everyone except me and a couple people. And then it was just a little crushing, but at the same time, I'd just gotten on the main stage. Like I didn't really have characters to see. Like, so then I just thought like, okay, this isn't going to happen. But then, yeah, I got to get flown out, and then, you get put up at a hotel, and you're in New York, and you're walking to your audition down the streets of New York. Like, I mean, that alone was just like, you know, a pinch me moment, you know. So then, yeah, you go in, and, you know, they might tell you your audition's at like 3:00 or something. But then they have you wait in this little dressing room, you know, by yourself for like hours, you know.
Okay,
so,
the waiting.
Yes.
This is Lorne Michaels mythology. What is with the waiting?
I mean, I have no idea. Like, I've never even asked, and I guess even to this day,
is it to see if like you're gonna crack?
No, like it's so funny because I've never even thought like again. You know, I'm gonna go back to like this was just in my mindset. So I'm like, oh my god, I've auditioned for SNL. So I'm not like, why am I waiting so long? This is like, even in hindsight, you're not like, because you just think like, oh, that was on that day they were running behind. I was never thinking.
Tina has talked about having to wait hours.
Okay, so I mean, I guess I've heard that they make you wait for, like, I had to wait again for the meeting. I don't know. Like, I was just had like stars in my eyes. So I was just like, you don't remember that part of it. You just remember like, but what I do remember is being in the room and like, going over my audition in my head. And then like, at some moments when I went over it, I was like, yes, I just nailed it. And then other moments I'd go over it and I'd be like, ugh. And so I just feel like when I got called in, like I happened to be on like a good, like everything was like working. So it was actually, my audition went really, really, the first time went really well. The time I didn't get it. And they tell you like Lauren might not laugh. Like no one might laugh because there's only like 3 people watching your audition. First of all, you're on that stage. So you're, again, like the stars in my eyes. Like I barely even realized like, oh my God, wait, I'm standing on the stage where the monologue happens, So then, and they don't like chit chat with you. Like some auditions, they make little conversation. There was none of that. It was just like, and go, So then you go out and you do your bits.
And who did you, like, what did you prep? What were the characters or impressions?
Well, I did do the Boston thing. And because I had a scene at Second City like that. And then I did this character that never made it on the show, but it was this like child star that had grown up and like was still acting like a child star. I still liked that character. but anyway, and then I did, oh my gosh, I don't even remember what my third impression was. I mean, my third character, I don't even remember.
Did you do Callista Flockhart at the audition?
Oh yeah, so I did Callista Flockhart. Oh, and luckily, like, there was a few people from the office that had wandered. I was the last one of the day. So this one guy who I ended up becoming really good friends with, he was laughing so loud. Like, he's got this really loud laugh. So that sort of, like, powered me through. But anyway, when I was done with the audition, I was, like, walking on the street, like, because at this point, when you're an actor, you kind of know when you do really well or when you tanked it. There's kind of not a lot of... So, I mean, that was, like, starting out more then. But I still felt, like, really good. Like, there was no moment that I was like, oh, I wish I'd done this. So I felt really good about it. So that was kind of, like, all you can do. You can't, like... And then, like I said, I didn't get it. And but
how did you find out you didn't get it?
Because I think, like, they tell you, like, we'll tell you by August whatever. And then, like... August whatever comes and goes.
Got it.
And your phone hasn't rung.
So like, but basically they like ghost you?
Yeah, kind of. But I did, like, I knew Tina and Adam McKay were both working there, and they both told me, like, on the down low, whatever, they told me, because they hired I think they hired Jimmy, Parnell, and Horatio that year. They told me they might be hiring women the next year, which this is like, let me just throw this in.
Okay, you just said.
No, but see, this is the thing. That was just from Tina and like Adam. So that I had said that in some interview, whatever. And then it got blown up. It was like a New York Times, like, remember your audition thing. That sentence, which was this like throwaway, got blown up in this thing, like as if that was like from Lauren. And then it was like a thing you could click on about like, and it was supposed to be about your first audition. I was so mortified because like that was sort of like unofficial, that was Tina telling me. Like your buddy telling you, like, I don't know, they might hire. So anyway, I knew like, okay, this could still happen, but I didn't really hold my breath about it. Yeah. And then the next year I got to audition again.
So what did you do the second time?
Well, then I had like my second string characters, so like I wasn't feeling as good about it, but I tried to throw in like a lot more impressions. I think the second time I think I did Sarah Jessica Parker. And I did Paula Poundstone. And yeah, I tried to throw in more of that. And then again, they said like, okay, we'll tell you by August 15th. August 15th comes and goes. I was like, okay, it didn't happen. And then like a week or two after that, I got this, like, that was back when you checked your voice machine, and it's like, Lauren wants to meet with you in New York. So I was like, what? And so then I flew to New York, sat on his couch and, through the waiting thing. And then I had this meeting with him and I wasn't sure, like, what does this meeting mean? Like, it was just kind of chit chat, So it was like, I don't know. I was in there for like 15, 20 minutes or something, just like chatting. And I'm so, like, I'm so shy, which is weird because I'm an actor, but I'm just very shy. And, so I definitely don't think I went in there and like wowed him with my off the cuff, like conversational humor. So, but anyway, then they're like, okay, we'll let you know within a week. So then the week goes by, and then it was like the last day of the week, and it was like 9 p.m. or something like that. And I was carrying, my phone around everywhere with me. And then I got, this call that was like, we have Lorne Michaels on the line for you. And I was like, whoa. And so then, he gets on the phone. He's like, someone will be calling to set up the deal. And then in my like amateur actor, I was like, does that mean I have the job? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, oh, thank you. And then, you hang up and scream and call your parents. And like, it's just the dream phone call. I mean, it's one of the life highlights,
Tell the video yearbook who you are wearing.
All right, this is a two-tone acetate creation that was purchased during a rare yet torturous mother-daughter shopping spree at Dressbarn.
May I say that dress is gonna look wicked good, crumpled up on the soccer field behind the junior high.
You are so retarded!
You are.
I want to get into the writing process, or like the days of the week have been like well-worn territory. Like everyone knows, like the host comes in on Monday. It's like people kind of know this by now. The staying up all night Tuesday thing. Why is this necessary still? 35? Or how long has SNL been on the air? Like 40 years?
Yeah, it's not necessary. Like you could come in the morning and like do all your stuff in the day. But just like, that's not how anyone does it. It's like something about the pressure and the late nights and the desperation and the, yeah, you could be home by 6 if you came in. But it just, I don't know. That's just like part of the whole process there. So no one's making you stay all night, but you end up doing it because, I don't know, something about that pressure, of the clock ticking and like the sun coming up. I mean, oh my gosh. Some people stay till 9 a.m.
Is it partly like just because that's how they did it in 75 and it's part of like, this is the way the legends did it. Like we're going to do it that way.
I don't think so. I don't know. Just for me, I mean, we're all kind of night owls, and I don't know. I don't think anyone's trying to like live up to some legacy. Like this is how Belushi did. I just think, we were all just, I don't know. That's when all the magic happens, I guess.
Who did you share an office with?
Oh, when I first got there, there's this guy, Ali Farinaki, and he came on as a writer from Chicago with me. And we were the only two new people. And they had like, fashioned this storage closet for us with like 2 desks in it. But then eventually I just had my own office. But, I would most of the time like to write with other people. Yeah. So I wrote a lot with Tina, of course, at the beginning, and then Emily Spivey and Paula Pell. Like all the women wrote a lot together. James Anderson. Yeah.
Can I tell you one of my favorite sketches that you did? This is not like a famous sketch, but I like was obsessed with it. I think you maybe did it once or twice. You had a character called the girl with no gaydar.
Oh yes, yeah.
Who did you write that with?
I might have written it with. Oh my gosh. Oh, with James Anderson. Yeah, who he's still at the show. Oh, he might have left this year.
That was the gay writer there. That was the funniest thing.
That was based on because I went to this is so like I wasn't the type, and I don't think many people are the type you just sit at a computer and you try to think of something funny. Like you have to go through your life when you're on the show, like sort of being open to the muses. But like you have to be open to seeing something that might make a good sketch. So to that end, I was at this party for a gay friend of mine, a birthday party, and there were like 70 gay men there and like 5 women. And I was joking around with my friend, like, I think I'm going to meet someone here. Look at these odds, it's a good ratio. So then like that's basically what the sketch was. It was a very gay party. Yeah.
I loved it. And I also loved it because, and I think it was the infusement of Tina's sensibility as well as Paula Pell's sensibility. I think partly why I was so connected to that era was that there was this like infusement of sort of more gay related humor in the sketches.
Yeah, I mean, James and Paula are both gay, and they, at least, like, we had some representation going on there. Although Paula was there a few years before I even got there. When I was there, I've heard, like, for example, in the past that it was a hard place for women, and not to take away from people that came before me, because I'm sure it was, but I feel like I got there at a pretty civilized, like, woke. No, I feel like when I was there, I never felt like, oh, this didn't get on because I'm a woman, like, and it was very female friendly. I mean, and Tina's like, her sort of feminism or whatever you want to call it, like, would always come through. Like, even at Second City, she's like, I don't know, she's really good at like taking someone down, you know. And then having James there, and
But also, you were there during this magical time where the stars, yes, there was Will Ferrell. I mean, Jimmy Fallon honestly wasn't even, a lot of people wrote him off as a sketch performer because he'd laughed. Like, people didn't respect him on SNL. That came later. But the people who everyone revered were the women. I mean, you were there. I think right before you came, you had Anna Gasteyer, Molly Shannon, Sherry O'Terry.
Right.
Then you were in with all of them, along with Tina. And then as you were leaving was the entry of like Kristen Wiig.
Yeah. And then Maya came in right after me and Polar. So
yeah, of course. How can I forget Amy Poehler? Yeah.
You know, people often say like that, but even before I was on the show for several years, I was watching Molly, Anna, and Sherry. Like, they were bringing it, you know. So, and then even since I've gone, like, the women are super strong now. Like,
I want to talk about your iconic character. So, like, you mentioned the Boston Teens, which I love, by the way. I know that was based off a sketch where you and Tina.
We were a mother-daughter.
Oh, you were a mother-daughter.
Shopping at a mall. And we did that sketch at Second City, yeah.
Right. So I love that one. Of course, like, you did The Lovers with Will Ferrell's amazing. The Mom Jeans commercial is like classic.
Oh, yeah, that was a Tina creation, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Was that just hilarious to film?
Oh, yeah, oh my gosh. It's so funny because back then, like, you know, we had all this padding in back then, and now, like, we could probably do it without all the fake padding. But yes, that commercial pops up a lot around Mother's Day, of course. So it has a, you know, the term mom jeans, like, that didn't exist till Tina wrote that sketch. So people don't know that, but yeah, now that's how you refer to those jeans because of that sketch. Yeah.
Amazing. But okay, let's get real. What is the story behind how you came up with Debbie Downer?
Okay, well, Debbie Downer, you know that thing I said about how, like, you can't force a thing, like, you just have to wait for something. This was one of those. So I was on a trip. I was in Costa Rica at this place, this like eco lodge, and had these communal tables. And so people were just making chit chat, you know. And so I was talking to someone and they said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." And then they were like, "Oh, were you there for 9/11?" And it just sort of like screeched everything. It was also like 3 years after 9/11. So it was kind of strange, I thought. But anyway, so then I was like, felt like I had to get, you know, because we were in this like vacation spot. I felt like I had to like get it back on the rails kind of thing. So then like about a week later, I was back home. That's when like the term Debbie Downer just popped into my head, thinking of that. I don't know, just like the person that, you know, ruins everything. But I think I have a Debbie Downer that lives inside of me because I'm always like wanting to chime in on the bad news story I just read, but I don't let myself do that. So that just popped in my head, and then I brought it to Paula, and then we started trying to write it, and we first said it in an office setting, and it kind of wasn't really working. And then we had the idea, oh, this has to be somewhere really happy. So then we said it in Disney World. And then as we were writing it, we were cracking each other up so hard with these downerisms, and then we would throw in this like wah wah just when we were writing. And then we were like, what if we actually put that trombone sound in the sketch? So we got the trombone player. I think that was I think we had him actually bring the trombone into the read through. So then, yeah, when we did it the read through, it went really well. So like, you never know though, like sometimes, well, you know, if something dies at the read through table, it's not going in. That's what you do know. But sometimes something can do really well and still might not go in or whatever. Like, you have to try to give the host something fun to do and all that stuff. So, but anyway, it got picked, and then we were doing it in dress rehearsal. So Horatio and Jimmy were laughing a lot in dress rehearsal, and I was thinking, like, you guys, like, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking, like I feel like this could be good. Like, I just was like, please don't crack up, you know. And then when it was on air, like, I cracked up because I flubbed some line, and then I knew that camera was coming in for the close up, you know. And then I don't know what happened. We just like never recuperated, and then we were laughing through the whole thing. Which, like, you know, I try not to laugh. Because before I was ever on the show, like, I love when people crack up. It's so funny. But you try not to do that because it's sort of a cheap way of getting the audience on your side. And so I'd really try not to. But that was probably my most fun time on the show. Because sometimes people ask, you know, is this really live? Like, they don't, even though it's right there in the title, they don't know. And so when something goes kind of like wrong like that, it sort of reminds you how spontaneous it all is. And So yeah, that's the origin of Debbie Downer.
So what's amazing about that first Debbie Downer sketch is that the host, who was also in that sketch, was Lindsay Lohan.
Yes.
And she was hosting because she was promoting Mean Girls.
Okay.
So this is like prime Lilo.
Prime what?
Lilo.
Lilo, yes, prime Lilo.
I mean,
yes.
this is like Lindsay was in her
this
prime.
was yeah. Yes.
She was on the
Precipice?
Precipice, thank you. she was on the brink.
There you go.
Of total overnight. I mean, she obviously was already successful, Parent Trap, yada yada, but she was about to become an A-list star literally overnight. What was it like? I mean, you were with her that whole week.
Right.
What did you observe? Like, what did you make of her?
Like, like you said, she wasn't really a star yet. So, and then, like I also said, you have people coming in there every week. And when you're just an actor on the show, you might not even have that much interaction with them if you're in like a couple scenes. So, I didn't have any big impressions of her. Just like, because the other thing is all the hosts that come in, like, they're all pretty nervous. So they're always, from my experience, on their best behavior. So like everyone always asks, like, who's the worst host? Like, I never saw, I'm sure the producers and behind the scenes had to deal with some hissy fits that I've never even knew existed. But so yeah, everybody's always, I mean, this sounds so like everyone's nice, but that's kind of what it was like being an actor.
Okay, so here's my follow-up to that.
Yeah.
Tell me about when Trump hosted.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was early in my time there, I think. Like I said, I'm shy. Like, so it was funny because when you'd be waiting around for rehearsal, I was never the person that's like, okay, so Jimmy was like a master at talking to the host and making them feel comfortable. And like, look at him now. Like, that's what he does for a living. Yeah. So like Jimmy could, he'd just like go up to Mick Jagger and start like talking about what, and Poehler was also really good at just like making chit chat. But I was just always like quiet as a mouse in the corner. So I don't have any, Trump stories. I don't even remember like interacting with him.
Really?
Which is, I wish I had some stories now, but then he came back after I was off the show. Like he came back last year or whatever.
Tina has this story from when he hosted. So basically they were doing a bit for Weekend Update, because he used to host the like Miss America pageants or whatever that was. So they jokingly, like in dress rehearsal, they set it up so she's literally in like a gown and like a sash, like as a as if like this is what she's doing, and he comes up. This is not script. This is just like they're waiting to like go on. He comes up to her and says, "You look really good like that. You should dress like that more often."
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Well, she really dodged a bullet there. It's a good thing she didn't interact further with him, I guess.
And then they cut it. They didn't do it. You like it?
Yeah. I mean,
makeup is a real situation to contend with these days while wearing masks. And at this point, glamming up your eyes really is the best way to feel like a human being. What I found to really get my eyes looking great are lashes. Yes, I've officially turned into Tinsley. But seriously, this beauty company, Le Rêve Beauté, has an eyeliner lash combo, which I've been using the past month. The way it works is first you put on their water and smudge proof Mystique eyeliner, which allows the lashes to pop right on. If you can put on eyeliner, you can use these lashes. The best way to experience the lash system is by subscribing to the monthly Beauté box, which comes with 2 lashes and 1 Mystique eyeliner, plus a free cosmetic product each month. And it's customizable, so you can choose your lash style and liner color each month if you want to experiment with stuff. So today we're offering you guys an extra set of lashes and Mystique eyeliner when you subscribe to the Beauté box. So we're talking a total of 3 sets of lashes and 2 liners in your first box. Just go to lerevbeauté.com/deepdives and use code deepdives. So I'm going to spell this out for you guys. It's LEREVEBEAUTE.com/ Deep Dives, DEEPDIVES. Again, it's larevbeauté.com/deepdives and use code deepdives at checkout to get an extra set of lashes and Mystique eyeliner. I want to tell you guys about my experience with wine.com. If you're like me, I find wine or a champagne really is the best housewarming or holiday gift because you can crack it open that night over dinner or you can save it for the next Housewives premiere, whatever. Did you know that wine.com is just the simplest and easiest way to search for wine? You will not find a broader selection of wine online or in stores, period. You can search by red, white, sparkling, champagne, rosé, you name it, or by region, and they deliver it right to your door. They even have this chat feature where you can chat with a wine expert right on the website if you need guidance on which wine you like best or if you have any questions. By the way, they also have an app which makes the whole deal even simpler. So if you prefer, just download the wine.com app from the App Store in either Apple or Android, and you can search and buy wine while you're sitting on the couch watching TV. If you want to try it out, just go to wine.com/hot takes and get $50 off your first order. WINE.com/HOTTAKES. So it's wine.com/hot takes and get $50 off your first order. I know you talked about like the character, the child star that, you know, that one you're talking about. Were there any sketches that you wrote or characters that you had that you felt like were great or really passionate about and just like they
couldn't get it?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting about SNL, like coming from Second City to SNL, there are scenes I had at Second City that killed, but then I tried to put them up in SNL, and like what you don't realize is that something that works on stage isn't always going to work on SNL, and it's just sort of a learning curve, you know, because you need to get your, like on stage you have this more luxury to have the characters develop, and you don't have to have like laugh, but in SNL you need like joke. So it's just sort of like, you know, going to you're getting your advanced degree in comedy is getting thrown into that pool at SNL.
So you finish 7 seasons. Why did you leave at that time? Like how do you decide?
So it was a little muddy because that's when 30 Rock, you know, I was going to go do 30 Rock. And then the whole 30 Rock thing happened. And then I was like, well, should I try to go back to SNL? Like, should I? Because when the part got cut on 30 Rock. But it wasn't really like that. That's the year they kind of like kicked some people off, sort of. Like it was like budget cuts. So, I
mean, is it like a Housewives thing where like no one really leaves on their own? I mean, no, that's not true. People do leave
on their own. It was just like, it sort of depends on the time it is and the year and all that. So at that moment, it was just like, no, you can't come back. But I was, you know, I had kind of left. It was just over the summer. It wasn't like, you know, the following year, whatever. Yeah. It was sort of like an inquiry that I didn't really push because I just figured, okay, maybe it's just time to go, you know. So then I did, and then 30 Rock came up, but then I was also still going to do the little characters on 30 Rock. So
yeah, I mean, to put this like in more context.
Yeah.
So I just want to flesh out the 30 Rock thing just a little bit for people who may not like know exactly what happened. So you were originally cast as Jenna Maroney.
Yes.
And you were in the pilot.
Right.
Right? And what happened? Like the network watched it and they just decided.
Yeah, you know what? Sounds like weird, but I don't really know what happened. I assume it's like focus groups or network decision or whatever. The honest thing is that I kind of understood like, oh yeah, I can see like where this character's going. Like I wouldn't really cast me in this, you know? So then when the other thing came up, like immediately, like, you're not doing this part, but you could do like a different part every week, and it's kind of like a Where's Waldo thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like I've never seen that done before. So then I wasn't really lamenting the loss of the part, especially like being in showbiz, as long as like, I don't think I know anyone that hasn't been like, you know, kicked off a show to be replaced by someone. Yeah. So that wasn't so shocking. What sucked about it was that it just got like picked up by like, I wasn't even super famous. I mean, it's still not like, you know, it's not like I'm Tom Cruise or something getting reported on every week. You know what I mean? But like for some reason that just became this like chum in the water in terms of the fake news media. No, but in terms of like the media, they just like picked up this thing and like ran. Like I was getting more press than I ever had because of being replaced.
Was it due to your friendship with Tina? Because it was loaded in that way?
I mean, I don't know. Like it didn't feel like that to me in real life. So I don't know if I don't know if it's because like I was leaving SNL to do this thing and like, you know, and like what sucked about it was like when you're leaving SNL, you kind of, I mean, I didn't really know this at the time or put much into it, but I guess a lot of people want to like orchestrate their exit from SNL, like either have something lined up or like, you know, frame it in some way, which wasn't even on my radar. So it just, what sucked was it was just like, you're leaving SNL and then this happened. It just felt kind of like juicy for people. You know what I mean? Like, so that was like the bad part, the actual, you know, going to play these parts and, you know, seeing what, you know, Jane Krakowski is like completely different from me. So, you know, you kind of get that, you know.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to Jane Krakowski about it?
So the first day on the set, like we were both in the makeup chair and she was kind of like, well, this is kind of weird. I was like, yeah, it was nice that she sort of acknowledged it. And then, you know, she was always just super cool. And I hope I was too. Like, it wasn't like I was sitting in the chair, like, that's the dress I wore, you know? But oh my God, but this is a funny story. My very first day, there was a read through and I was playing the cat lady. It was a very like frumpy, underdone person. So we had to do like the read through and like there was a feed to LA, you know? And so there we all were at the read through table and like Jane was in the full makeup and like hair and just like looked gorgeous. And I was in this like ratty wig with no makeup and this like army jacket on. I was just like, oh boy, like this is not how I wanted my like the LA feed to come in. So that was kind of, you know, those comical things that you're like, you got to find the funny in here. But yeah, like it was totally cool. And then I just had these, you know, fun things to do every week. And that was kind of it. But in terms of the actual, yeah, that whole like media wave and that was not fun, I'll say, if I may be honest.
Was it awkward at all between you and Tina? I mean, this is Tina's show that it was all right. She was under a lot of pressure herself. Like,
yeah.
did you guys ever talk about what went down like one-on-one as friends?
I think I wish we had talked a little more about it, but the reason I never brought that up is because, you know, this is, like you said, this is her show and we're just trying to get this show off the ground and I'm just here trying to do my thing with these parts that I have that were very funny. And like, I mean, I was grateful for the funny stuff she gave me to do. If I wanted to talk about like, you know, some crappy article I saw, I would just talk about that with like another friend, like outside of the biz or whatever. Cause like, I don't want it to be like, look at this, it's happening. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that.
I totally get it. So now it's post 30 Rock media blitz. You're now the most famous. You're now the most famous comedic actress in show business. I want to sort of like explain just the circumstances under which you discovered suddenly it's like you were so focused on your career.
Right.
Did you want to be a mom?
I mean, I always just thought that I would, you know, like, and I guess I was kind of concerned about like, oh my gosh, well, you know, I haven't met anyone. Am I going to have kids? Am I going to be a person that doesn't have kids? Like maybe. So then I had to wrap my head around that because as you said, like I just wasn't thinking of like, oh, I'll just have a kid on my own if I don't meet somebody. That just wasn't where my head was at. So yeah, let me take you back. So, so then like things really slowed down after all that career wise, like, so yeah, after that happened with 30 Rock, then I became sort of like pigeonholed. I mean, the parts that would come my way through my agent were just just even the breakdowns, they were so insulting, you know? So like, and it wasn't just one, it was like became a joke with my agent. Like he was afraid to tell me what it's, he's like, no, keep an open mind. Like they're saying this, but they don't mean it. Like they're saying the person is 80 years old and, you know, they're saying that it's in the script, like enter Rita. Whatever it was. It was just always so bad. And then that became pretty demoralizing. And then I was like, should I even, like, maybe it's time to exit this this biz, and not seriously, but like I think because I'd come from this world of sketch where like you can play anything, you can be anything, and that's how you're supposed to think expansively like that, and then I was just getting like these horrible, not like they were even rolling in, but I was getting the occasional horrible offer. So that was like a few years of that, like several years, and I just started writing. Like if something funny happened in real life, then I would just start. I think I did like not a moth, but Risk. I think I did one of those. Then I was like, oh, I'll just like keep,
storytelling.
Yeah, and then
shows.
I was like, I'll just keep an eye open, like that kind of thing, like how I used to do for sketch. I'm just gonna like if something weird happens or like I go on a bad date or whatever, I'm gonna try to write it up as a little story. So I started to do that, and then there was a lit agent at my agency, and I showed her like 5 of these stories I'd written, and she liked them. She's like, okay, where could this go? What could this be as a book? Then I didn't know, so they just sort of sat there for like a year. I wasn't working much, so I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time worrying about working, because that's what I'd done between Second City and SNL, and then I got SNL. So I tried to be very this is when I got into The Secret, and I tried to be very vision board about it all, but then I was just like, I'm not going to waste my time lamenting showbiz right now. So I actually, I was doing yoga a lot, and I actually took Spanish, which I'd never learned, and like things like that, the things like I have all time to do these things. And then I had these stories. Well, anyway, cut to, like 4, and I was doing a few plays actually, which was fun. But then I guess I left SNL in 2006, and then in 2009 got surprise pregnant. And then well, whatever, then just in terms of the book, then I was like, oh, now there's a plot twist.
Now I have an angle.
Both in my life and for this stack of papers. Then that's how like book happened and my child happened. Not necessarily in that order, but
it's like amazing. So wait, so how old? So you had a boy?
I had a boy,
and
he just turned 10.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
is he in Zoom school?
Yeah, well, he's in hybrid. So he goes into school for a week, and then he's in Zoom for a week school.
And how did you come up with his name?
I just always liked that name, Eli, from like way back when. John and I were dating long distance for not all that long, and then the reason I say surprise pregnant is because I was almost turning 44. And, I'd just been inundated with all the stuff that you read about how, like, once you hit 40, it's impossible, da, da, da. Yeah, so I just sort of thought kids weren't going to be part of my life. Anyway, then, but John lived in California, and then when I found out I was pregnant, he ended up moving here and to be a dad. And
wow.
Yeah, he's very involved.
He's in New York?
Yeah. He moved in 2 buildings down from me. Yeah. In Will Forte's old apartment. and yeah, so at the beginning.
So are you guys like still close?
Yeah. I mean, we're not.
Why didn't it work? Yeah, why didn't it work out?
Well, it's so funny. I knew you were going to ask me this, and I think at the beginning we were like, who knows? Because it was almost like a sitcom. Like we were thrown together, taking care of a newborn, which is very bonding. Like we'd been dating 6 months when I got pregnant, so. It was like we had this fun project and we were like, get the bottle. Oh my gosh, he threw up, that kind of thing. But we just, I don't know, like it's not really like podcast. No, it's not like I have
it's not podcast material.
Well, what I mean is, it's not like there's some big giant reason. It's just like we just weren't like couple compatible. But we're definitely co-parent compatible. And
it's amazing.
Yeah. So that was, talk about like lessons, because I had like written the story of like how things were going to go. And then, like, I got this giant surprise.
I heard the story of you. So you obviously grew up in musical theater, and what was the deal? You took Eli to see Fiddler on the Roof?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw Fiddler on the Roof, the movie, when I was like 7, and I took Eli to see it on Broadway. It was about to close. I think he was 6 or 7. And so because I'd taken him to some other shows, and so because it was about to close, like we got to see Fiddler on the Roof. So I take him. I have a funny before picture where he's smiling, but we go and like it was kind of like a dark production of it. I mean literally dark. Like there weren't a lot of sets, and it wasn't like you'd picture. It's very bare bones production. Anyway, So like partway through, he leans over to me and he's like, I want to leave. And then I was like, oh no, because it's only partway through act 1. And I was like, okay, just like stick around, let's wait till the intermission, whatever. And then I'm realizing, oh yeah, like I guess maybe a musical about, forbidden love due to religion might not appeal to a 6-year-old. And then at intermission, he said he wanted to leave, and I was like, just please, just stay. Like, so we stayed for the second act. And then, like, the characters in the second act, one of them says to the other, like, I have to say goodbye to you. And he leans over and he's like, I have to say goodbye to this show. And he starts, like, doing little quips. They're like, I must leave you now. I have to leave this show. I mean, only I could hear him, I think. But anyway, then we get outside. It was a matinee. It was dark out because it was winter. And he saw that, he had missed the whole day. And he's like, it's dark out. No. And he started like crying. It was such a mom fail. So lesson, Fiddler on the Roof, maybe not for 6-year-olds.
That's amazing. The final act of this, what I want to talk to you about, Wine Country.
Yes.
I mean, you're like basically the lead in this movie that just came out last year. And it's based on your actual 50th birthday.
Yeah, so that exact group went to Napa or Sonoma. I can't remember which. Anyway, we went to Wine Country. So much fun. And then I think Amy Poehler and Emily Spivey, I don't know if they simultaneously, whatever. One of them or both of them had the idea, like, we should do a movie on this. So then they and Liz Krakowski wrote it with Emily. So they went off and wrote that.
And Amy directed it.
Yes. But the one thing that was real, well, a couple things, but the big thing was that we did have this like bummer tarot card reader, and that's in the movie. But she, in real life, she didn't give us like bad fortunes, but she was like super crusty, like not what you would imagine of a tarot card reader to be. She was like this kind of crusty, grouchy lady. And Amy really does plan a lot in real life, but she would be the first to tell you.
Who else have you done these 50th birthday trips with?
We did Anna's birthday.
Where was that?
We went to Palm Springs. And then we were supposed to do Tina's, and then the whole pandemic hit, so that got canceled. So that's on the
Debbie Downer.
On the burner.
That's a Debbie
Downer.
You can do the trombone if you want.
We would be doing Tina's birthday, except COVID hit.
Where was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be in the Southwest. Yes.
Sounds fun.
Mysterious. Somewhere in the Southwest. But yeah, so now we're in a holding pattern on that.
Just to like wrap up, you look at like what happens to people after SNL. Some people, go off to like TV shows, like Andy Samberg got his TV show. Does it kind of blow your mind that Seth Meyers, when, he took over for Conan, oh no, he took over for Jimmy after Jimmy took over for Conan.
Yeah.
And that Jimmy wound up hosting The Tonight Show?
I mean, he's so good at it that like...
But would you have... Okay, let's go flashback to 1999, and you see this skinny little Jimmy Fallon.
See, like, I love Jimmy. I know you, like, before you said that, like, no one... And I was just like, I feel like I should chime in because we... I mean, Jimmy's like... He's definitely a talent,
I love Jimmy Fallon. He's an amazing impressionist, but as a sketch actor, he always kind of played himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. But I'm not going to sign on to that because then it will be no. I mean, Sully and Denise. He was a good Sully.
That is true.
And beyond. But he is, like I said, he's so good at just talking to anybody and doing, like, he's kind of a jack of all trades. So like, it doesn't surprise me that he ended up there. Or like, Seth, found his own spin with his whole, like, Seth's just so smart, and his political moments are so great. So I think that, they're both like in their place where they can shine really well. So.
He's spoken a lot about the psychological torture that is SNL.
Seth has?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Just how things can die like at any minute, and then you think it's actually on, and then it's not, and then it is. It's just that it's this constant roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
That it's just never stable.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, that's probably true. Yeah, I mean, like, even back to whatever, I think Conan had some quote about, like, when he would walk back into the building, he'd start to get this anxiety, Yeah, it's sort of this total mix, like you said, of a roller coaster of joy and anxiety, I guess.
Are you guys going to do another Wine Country? Like a sequel?
I don't know. I joked about that we should do one in Italy, but I don't know if that's happening. No, I have no idea. I think, on the good note, like everyone's kind of off doing cool things, like Amy and Tina are producing. Now Maya's producing too. I don't know. Everyone's got their own sort of big things going on.
I love it. So what are you looking to do next? Like, what would be like a dream project?
So Anna Gasteyer and I wrote this movie that was actually supposed to film, and then the pandemic hit. But we wrote this. It's a parody of one of those Hallmark Christmas movies, and so we wrote it over we were supposed to shoot it over the summer, so now it's gonna have to wait till next Christmas. And then I'm developing this a kids book for this animated series that hopefully will go at Netflix.
Cool.
Yeah, so those are my sort of things up the road, I guess you could call it.
I love it.
But honestly, like, so much of my time and energy is going into momhood right now, which is bringing its own sort of fun. So I'm sort of enjoying, it'd be nice to have, like I said, a lot of stuff shut down right now, but hoping when it comes back, I think I had a pretty good balance going. So
yeah, like theater, different stuff.
Yeah, and even just doing whatever, movies or TV, and then having a lot of time to be mom too. So
listen, if all else fails, I'm sure you can get that part again in Countess Luann's show.
Oh my God. I want to redo where I just read. Now I'm kind of embarrassed that I kicked it off with that. But I heard you mention it in the Judy Gold thing, and I was like, oh, I've got to talk about it.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much. I mean, do you have any final thought? Anything?
Oh my God.
Anything you want to say? Any final thoughts about SNL, about waiting the 3 hours for long? Anything that you need to get off your chest?
No, I mean, the good news is sometimes I leave these and I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Or like, oh, I should have said that. Maybe I'll have that in an hour, but right now I feel okay. I feel like I can stand behind what I've said unless I remember something bad that I said, and then I'll call you up about it.
Thank you so much. I know Twitter's your main
Yes.
thing,
Oh my
right?
gosh, yes. I'm at the real Dratch. That's because someone was pretending to be me and writing like horrible poop jokes. So that's why I'm the real Dratch. And I'm on Twitter. Warning, I don't like the current administration. And that's all over my Twitter. So if you want to see a lot of scathing leftist opinions, check out at the real Dratch.
I love it. You're great. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. You're a lot of fun to talk to.
Thank you.
Guys, you can follow me, Jess XNYC, follow the show account, Hot Takes Deep Dives, and Rachel and I will see you soon.
Rachel just started a Super Bowl ad where she busted out her wicked pissa Boston accent. And, people keep asking me when I'm going to do a Real Housewives of Boston, okay? So, Rachel, here's what. Consider this your screen test. I'm going to present you with some current Bravo events. Bust out your Boston accent and tell us how the Real Housewives of Boston would handle the situation, okay? Okay, what would you do if a friend called you stingy for serving pizza at your kid's party because adults were also present?
I'd say, pizza, this is top quality Papagino's with hamburger on it. What are you complaining about?
Okay, what would you tell your friend if he asked what you thought about his new blindingly white $25,000 veneers?
25 grand for veneers? Why don't you go to CVS and pick up some Crest white strips?
How would you respond if someone busted into your wig line event using a marching band to promote her own hair care business?
You brought a matching band to my hair care party?
It's never not funny. Okay, what would you do if a love interest ghosted you after you gifted him an Apple Watch for Thanksgiving?
Oh my God. I work wicked hard at the mall to get money for that Apple Watch. So, I can't say it on TV.
What would you do if your husband was secretly playing naked Jenga with friends while you were out of town?
I'd say, put your Jenga back in your pants.
Thank you very much, Rachel Drake.